In front of you, we have two incredibly dangerous vehicles known as the Vigilante and the Toreador. In today's video, we are going to be comparing these missile-slinging beasts and talking about their advantages and disadvantages amongst each other, and which one out of the bunch would I personally choose to use in a Grand Theft Auto session. Let's get straight into it! Let's start this video off simple, talking about the basic things both of these cars have going for them, like price tag, top speed, if they feature any armor, and their overall lap times. First of all, to purchase either vehicle, you're going to have to head over to Warstock Cash and Carry. To get your hands on the Vigilante, you're going to need to drop a crisp $3.75 million. Yeah, that's not very cheap at all. To be fair, it's a heck of a lot cheaper than the $4.25 million that the Toreador cost, but let's be real, this is only about a $500,000 difference, and once you're at 3.75 mil, it really doesn't feel that much harder to drop an extra 500k to purchase the Toreador. So price tag, the differences between these two vehicles is really negligent. But when it comes to the overall price of these cars, yeah, that's going to take a lot of grinding. Even if you're using the best money methods available, which is the Cayo Perico heist, paired with passive money making in the background and doing the Dr. Dre VIP contract, you're still only going to be making around $2 million an hour. So to fully upgrade your hands a Toreador, yeah, it's going to take you about 2.5–3 hours of grinding non-stop. That's a lot of time. To get both of these cars, it's going to take you double that, upwards of 4, 5, even 6 hours. So yeah, it's definitely going to take a lot of effort to get your hands on these vehicles, which is why it's important to learn which of these cars is better. Okay, well, let's talk about the armor. The Vigilante, unfortunately, has no explosion resistance whatsoever. That means you could throw a sticky bomb on a Vigilante and poof, it will literally turn into a fireball. So it's a little unfortunate. It does have some bullet resistance because obviously the back has no windows, but if you shoot the driver in the front at all, you're going to go right through and turn their head into ketchup, which is a bit unfortunate. And it's something that obviously the Toreador has a big advantage on, is the fact that it does actually feature armor. Not a lot, because bullet resistance is terrible. It's literally just a giant window, really. But it does feature explosion resistance, which we'll be breaking into more in depth a little bit later. But it's still pretty nice that it features some armor, especially in Grand Theft Auto Online, where when you're in a public lobby, people like to blow you up. Okay, what's next? We got top speed. The Vigilante can reach a top speed 147 miles per hour. That's actually incredibly fast. That's because his vehicle obviously features a massive rocket boost. It's a really good rocket boost as well. It doesn't make you lose control, it's quick, and it doesn't really feel that annoying to use. The Scramjet's rocket boost, while really fun because it lasts forever, takes much longer to charge back, making it harder to constantly use when rolling around corners, and because it lasts a lot longer, it makes the car much more uncontrollable. The Vigilante speed boost is actually very controllable. It makes the car really fun to drive. Add that into the fact the vehicle's super heavy and launches cars out of the way, it doesn't even matter if you crash half the time. Where the Toreador is quite a bit slower, averaging 135 miles per hour. To be fair, that's still very fast. And if we compare these vehicles' lap times, we can see that their lap times are basically the same, at 56.425 for the Vigilante and 57.601 for the Toreador. So yeah, even though the Vigilante features a much better overall top speed, when it comes to real lap times, it's not going to make too much of a difference. So overall, performance-wise, these vehicles are similar. If you're going for top speed, the Vigilante is obviously going to win, but not by a massive margin. Even though it is 10 miles per hour faster, the fact that they feature such similar lap times showcases the Toreador does have much better handling. Well, really, the only big differences that we can see on at least the listed stats is the fact that the Vigilante cannot survive any explosions, where the Toreador can, as we can see. So it is quite nice to be in a car that can constantly get berated by explosion after explosion. How many can the Toreador survive, you might be asking? Well, it's actually quite an impressive 7 to 8. I don't know why, but it just depends on how lucky you are. Sometimes while you're driving the car, it'll blow up on the 7th. Sometimes it'll blow up on the 8th. But usually what I like to say is once you've been hit by 6 missiles, just bail out of the vehicle, because by the 7th, you're probably going to be blown up. While while the Vigilante may not be able to survive any explosions, it does have its fair share of advantages over the Toreador, the biggest one being the fact that you can use it in missions. Calling my mechanic on the phone, trying to complete any missions, will not work to spawn in my Toreador. For example, my Toreador is currently stored inside of my Kosatka, and as you can see, the Kosatka just doesn't show up as, like, available garages. It's not here, so you can't call in the Toreador. But if we make our way to Office Garage 1, we will see my Vigilante is one of the selectable vehicles. This means that doing any heist setups whatsoever, from the Pacific Standard all the way to the newest heists in the games or any other missions, the Vigilante is the only vehicle that has missiles, and specifically homing missiles, that is able to be used. So that is an absolutely massive advantage the Vigilante has over something like the Toreador. The Vigilante has one other trick down its sleeve, and that is the ability to push just about any vehicle out of its way. You can see, without even using the rocket boost, anything that gets in my way is gone. But let's say there's a car in front of me, and I'm speed boosting. Well, not anymore, there's no car in front of me. Even big vehicles, you can see, don't really stand much of a chance. The Vigilante is just very, very hard to stop, as we can see. In fact, the Vigilante is so good at knocking things out of its way, it can even move a tank if it really has to. There are not a lot of vehicles in the game that can actually move a tank out of its way, but the Vigilante is really, really impressive. Let's compare the stopping power of what you just witnessed to the Toreador. For example, there's a big vehicle in front of me, and yeah, I mean, it's literally not even close. Driving into cars, I mean, sure, you'll knock them a little bit out of your way, but to be completely honest, I'm pretty sure just driving a supercar would knock a vehicle normally that far out of your way. Just driving in the vehicles, you can see, literally does nothing. And what is this? A tank is in front of us. Well, yeah, I mean, it literally does nothing. It's actually insane, but, yeah, as you can see, the Vigilante is very, very heavy. Now, let's not give all the cake to the Vigilante. There are still some very, very cool things going for the Toreador. For example, this vehicle can go in the water. You can see we're going to have little wings pop out of it, and just like that, we are now a submarine, which we can shoot missiles underwater with, or I guess they're torpedoes. But still, it's very, very cool that the Toreador can do this. Plus, you can also boost out of the water kind of like a dolphin. So yeah, that's a pretty big advantage that something like the Toreador has going for it. But it doesn't stop there. The Toreador features 4 seats, meaning that if you ever plan to have company, you at least can fit company in your vehicle. Although, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think having seats is all that impressive, down to the fact that nowadays a lot of people play solo, and you can't even use this for heists anymore, so yeah, it's really not all that impressive. But something that is very impressive is the unlimited missiles. A vehicle like the Vigilante only holds 30 missiles. So once you shoot all of them, you have to go into your random action menu, go to vehicles, return it, and then request it again. But the Toreador has an unlimited amount of missiles, meaning that I can shoot them over and over and over as long as I want. This is especially good in public lobbies if you're ever trying to deal with griefers or really tedious missions. The fact that you can just keep spamming these missiles over and over is absolutely amazing. We also went over the fact that the Toreador has explosion resistance, surviving upwards of 7 to 8 homing missiles, where the Vigilante can't survive any. So again, that's a pretty big advantage for the Toreador. For the majority of grinders in Grand Theft Auto Online, I would legitimately say to buy both of these cars, because if you ever plan on doing missions or heists, the Vigilante is going to come in so much handy, especially when doing the Dr. Dre finales. But the Toreador is also a fantastic vehicle for public sessions. If you're grinding, you have the unlimited missiles, the super good explosion resistance, the rocket boost, so it's a great public grinding vehicle. When you add both of these vehicles together, there's really nothing they can't accomplish. But if you're only looking to buy one of these cars, which one is better? If you're planning to do a lot of missions, then get the Vigilante, and if you're planning to do a lot of public session grinding, then get your hands on the Toreador. It's really just that simple. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. You know what to do if you like it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.